My strength was slowly trickling back, but my muscles screamed with every movement. Cutting through the tough, rubbery fibers of the monster's joints was a nightmare. Every slice felt like I was fighting against steel. As its abdominal tentacles lashed out in a frenzied blind rage, I had no choice. I released my grip on the boning knife, leaving the cold steel lodged deep within the creature's mangled joint. With a final, desperate shove, the three of us scrambled away. We didn't stop until there was a safe distance between us and the twitching, multi-legged horror.
Kill you. I'm going to kill every single one of you. You're nothing but meat, damned livestock.
The creature's shriek was a jagged, discordant wall of sound that scraped against my eardrums. Its rage was palpable, even as it lay crippled. 4 of its insectoid legs had been hacked off by Chu Kai and Lin Yi, leaving it pinned to the dirt. The 2 legs I had targeted were still attached, but they were useless now, shattered, bent at impossible angles that couldn't possibly support its weight. It was a pathetic sight, really. The monster lay there, twitching like a dying lobster cast out on a hot beach. Only the cluster of tentacles at its center continued to thrash, a final, futile protest against its fate. For the first time, a grim sense of triumph flickered in my chest. We had done it. We had actually taken down one of these predators using nothing but our own strength and coordination. Half a month of Chengdao's brutal, relentless training had finally paid off. We weren't just prey anymore.
Die! I'll tear you apart! You're dead! You're all dead!
The monster's curses rained down on us like a toxic drizzle, but I didn't feel any anger. In fact, those hateful screams were the most beautiful thing I'd heard all year. They were a confirmation of our survival, a sign that the tide was beginning to turn.
Uncle Ann told us how to finish these things. We either have to destroy the heart or sever the neural pathways in the neck.
I stared down at the creature. It was immobilized, but the life still burned in its faceted eyes. This wasn't over until its heart stopped beating or its brain was severed from its body.
Hitting the heart is going to be a problem for us. Uncle Ann has the power to drive a blade through the shell to reach it, but we don't. Besides, those tentacles are still dangerous. If we get too close to its belly, it'll pull us in before we can even blink. Our only real option is to take out the neck.
Let me handle it!
Lin Yi handed his boning knife to me and reached down, his fingers digging into the dirt as he hoisted a heavy, jagged rock from the ground. He raised the stone high above his head, his muscles bulging with the effort. With a grunt of pure frustration, he brought it down toward the monster's skull with everything he had. Chu Kai slapped his hand against his forehead, the sound of his exasperated sigh audible even over the monster's shrieks.
Did you hear a single word I just said? I told you to sever the nerves, Lin Yi, not turn its head into a drum. That thing's skull is reinforced with the same carapace as its legs. You could swing that rock all day and you'd only succeed in making it angrier.
Hey, yeah, I know. I just really wanted to hit it. You have no idea how good that felt. We've been running from these things for weeks. I needed to let out some of that steam before I actually tried to kill it.
Lin Yi reached for the rock again, his grin fading into a look of grim determination. But before he could lift it, the monster's twitching limbs suddenly stiffened. The tentacles clustered at its belly suddenly coiled, gathering strength. With a violent spasm, the creature pushed off the ground, vaulting its broken body through the air directly toward Lin Yi's throat.
Lin Yi, look out!
The creature's mouth parts flared open, revealing rows of serrated suckers that were mere inches from Lin Yi's face. But then, a series of sharp, metallic sounds cut through the air. Blades erupted from the monster's flesh as if they had a mind of their own. The boning knife I had left in its joints suddenly drove itself upward into its belly, while another blade, a bloodletting knife, plunged directly into the center of its massive, multifaceted eyes. The monster's momentum died instantly. It crashed to the dirt with a heavy squelch, its legs continuing to twitch for a few seconds before finally going still. It landed so close to Lin Yi that he had to scramble to avoid being crushed. My heart hammered in my chest. I looked toward the path leading down from the peak, already knowing what I would find.
Uncle An's here. I can hear him.
Chu Kai had already caught the scent and the steady, unbreakable rhythm of Cheng Dao's heartbeat. A moment later, a dark silhouette emerged from the gloom, moving with a speed that made the monster's pounce look like a crawl. And Cheng Dao stood over the carcass, his expression unreadable in the dim light. He didn't look impressed. He looked like an instructor facing a particularly disappointing class.
How many times have I told you? Hesitation is death. When you have a target, you hit the vital points immediately. You don't play around with rocks. Is this the best you can do after half a month of training?
I'm sorry, Uncle Ann. I thought I could. I was just...
And Cheng Dao let out a heavy sigh, the tension in his shoulders relaxing just a fraction. He looked at the three of us, and for a fleeting second, I thought I saw a hint of something resembling pride.
The fact that you were able to take one down at all is a sign of progress. I'll give you a passing grade for this encounter, but only barely.
Uncle Ann, what about the fire? Is the mountain still crawling with them?
I looked toward the peak. The orange glow of the forest fire was getting brighter, painting the undersides of the clouds in a hellish rust color.
The blaze did its job. Most of the freaks were drawn toward the heat, but a few of them are smarter than they look. They realized it was a trap. While the others were running toward the flames, a small group decided to search the paths leading down. This one was just the first.
I looked down at Teacher Yao's mangled form. These creatures were driven by a singular, overwhelming greed. Even if they suspected a trap, their desire to hoard a human meal for themselves outweighed any instinct for cooperation. They had stayed behind not to help their kind, but to hunt us in secret.
I ran into a few more on the way down. They won't be bothering anyone else.
He spoke with such casual indifference that it sent a chill down my spine. We had struggled to kill one, yet he had cleared the path as if he were swatting flies. Suddenly, a series of distant, high-pitched wails drifted through the trees, cutting through the crackle of the fire.
Wait, is that a fire truck?
Fire trucks? Why would... Did the monsters call the fire department?
Think about it. They've spent years mimicking us. If a mountain catches fire, calling for help is exactly what a human would do. They're just following the script. We have to leave now. If the authorities or whatever passes for them now show up, we'll be trapped.
Without another word, leading the way, and Cheng Dao started down the mountain. We followed closely behind, our boots crunching against the dry earth as we melted back into the shadows of the forest. The fire on Sifang Mountain had become a beacon for the curious and the hollow alike. A crowd was already forming at the base of the slopes, people standing in loose clusters under the cold streetlights, whispering about the cause of the blaze. Some even stood with their phones held high, filming the orange tongues of flame as if it were nothing more than a spectacular show. From a distance, they looked like any other group of ordinary citizens. Human, normal, safe. But I knew better. I could almost feel the weight of their faceted eyes behind those human masks. In that sea of faces, I knew a good number were nothing but monsters, waiting for the cover of chaos to find their next meal.
Stay close. This way is clearer.
Relying on Chu Kai's sharpened senses, we wove through the darkness, sticking to the deepest shadows and the most neglected pathways. Every rustle of leaves, every distant car horn felt like a potential threat. We kept our heads low, our breaths shallow, and Cheng Dao in particular was a walking target. In this city, his face was more than just a memory. It was a warning siren. He was the legendary murderer every authority and mimic was hunting for.
Wait, someone's coming from up ahead.
Another one of those things, or is it a human?
It's a human. Just one. I can hear the heartbeat stable, if a little fast. He probably just wants to see the fire.
If it's just a regular person, we don't need to worry. We'll just stay in the shadows and let them pass.
A shadow detached itself from the gloom across the road, sprinting toward us with reckless abandon. The man didn't even look at where he was going, his gaze glued to the column of fire rising from the mountain.
It's huge! I knew those sirens were for something big. Look at it.
It's incredible! His excited mumbles reached Chu Kai's ears with clinical precision, but as he got closer, his pace faltered. He had finally noticed the four of us standing in the shadows of the streetlights. Chu Kai tensed, a low curse escaping his lips. He thought for sure the man had spotted Cheng Dao, the face that was currently plastered on every wanted poster in the province. But the man's eyes didn't stop on Cheng Dao. Not yet! Instead, they locked onto mine, widening in a mixture of disbelief and sudden joy.
Lin Yi? Is that really you, Lin Yi?
The harsh yellow glare of the streetlight hit his face, and I felt a jolt of recognition that nearly made my heart stop. I knew those eyes. I knew that voice.
Tian Meng?
Holy crap, it is you! I haven't seen you since before graduation.
He was about my age, maybe a little leaner than I remembered. He started toward me, his earlier excitement returning twofold. He reached out as if to grab my shoulder.
Who is this? Do you know him?
He's an old friend. We've known each other since we were kids. He didn't make it into our high school, and his family moved around a lot after that. We just lost touch. It's okay, Chu Kai. He's human. He's one of the good ones.
Lin Yi, man, what are you doing all the way out here in the middle of the night? And who are...
Tian Meng's words died in his throat. His hand, which had been reaching for me, froze in midair. His gaze had finally drifted past my shoulder, landing on the tall, silent man standing behind me. The recognition was instantaneous. The horror that flooded his features was so complete, it was as if someone had snuffed out a candle. In a heartbeat, every drop of blood drained from his face, leaving him a ghastly, translucent pale.
He's the one.
Dian Meng's throat tightened. He forced his gaze away from Cheng Dao, refusing to acknowledge the man's presence again. A fragile mask of composure settled over his face, though his eyes betrayed the frantic effort to remain calm.
Look, Lin Yi, I just remembered I have something urgent to take care of. My mother sent me out for errands, and she'll be furious if I'm not home soon. Let's catch up another time, all right? I really have to go.
Dian Meng spun around, intending to flee, but a flash of pure terror escaped through his carefully maintained facade. Lin Yi knew that letting him leave now would only invite unwanted attention and danger. Before Dian Meng could take more than a few steps, Lin Yi lunged forward.
Dian Meng, hold on a second.
Lin Yi's hand clamped onto the boy's arm. He could feel the violent tremors coursing through his friend's entire body.
What are you doing? Let me go!
Dian Meng recoiled, his head snapping back to check on Cheng Dao. Seeing the man hadn't moved, he leaned in and hissed with desperate urgency.
Are you insane? If that killer sees me talking to you, he'll know I've recognized him. I've seen his face all over the news. They described him as a heartless butcher who kills without a second thought. The reports said he kidnapped several students, and I saw your picture among them. When I saw you standing here, I thought you'd finally managed to escape his clutches. Listen to me, Lin Yi. I'll act natural and walk away, then I'll call the police immediately. I swear, I'll get you out of this.
You need to breathe. Just stay calm for a moment.
Lin Yi had expected this, and Cheng Dao's face was an unavoidable fixture on every broadcast and radio station lately. What he hadn't anticipated was that the monsters would exhibit their own photos as well, branding them as victims for the world to see. It was a cold, efficiently designed trap. Whether human or monster, anyone in the city could now identify them in an instant. Those bastards weren't leaving them a single shadow to hide in.
You don't need to be afraid. I'm perfectly safe.
Lin Yi countered with a small, tired smile.
I only stopped you because I need you to promise me something. Do not call the police.
How can you even smile right now?
Dian Meng was on the verge of a breakdown, his eyes darting frantically between Lin Yi and the dark woods.
If I don't get help, I'll have to just stand here and watch while that murderer butchers you. I see what's happening. He's got you so scared you're saying whatever he wants, isn't he? Just stay quiet and play along. I'll find a way to alert the authorities without him noticing. You'll be safe soon. Let go of me! Come on, let me move!
As Lin Yi maintained his grip, Dean Meng's desperation reached a fever pitch.
If he catches both of us, there won't be anyone left to look for you. Lin Yi, think about it. We've been friends since we were kids. You know I'd never just abandon you to die.
It's because I know you that I can't let you go.
Lin Yi explained, his voice never rising above a steady murmur.
Uncle Ann isn't the monster you think he is. You have to trust me. Look at me. I'm standing here, alive and well. If he really were the kind of savage killer you saw on the news, wouldn't I be a corpse by now? If he truly wanted me dead, it would have happened a long time ago.
Dean Meng paused, the simple logic of Lin Yi's words finally penetrating his fear. It had been significant time since the initial reports had aired. If Cheng Dao was as bloodthirsty as claimed, Lin Yi should haven't been able to walk around so freely. Yet, the doubt remained. Could the news, the absolute authority of the city, actually be lying? Dean Meng searched Lin Yi's expression, and suddenly a look of profound, misguided realization washed over him.
Oh, I see now.
Dean Meng whispered, his tone brimming with a misplaced certainty.
You have Stockholm Syndrome, don't you?
Stockholm my foot.
Lin Yi barked, his patience wearing thin.
I'm not playing with you, Dean Meng. He's not what you think. Hell, the man is the only reason I'm even standing here.
Dean Meng knit his brows, stealing several more anxious glances toward Cheng Dao in the distance. Upon closer inspection, the others standing near the man also bore a striking resemblance to the faces he'd seen emblazoned on the news.
Are you really sure? Lin Yi, you're honestly okay? You truly don't want me to get help?
I'm positive. No police.
Lin Yi nodded, his eyes meeting his friend's with unblinking intensity.
We've known each other for a lifetime. When have I ever led you astray? Listen to me very carefully. Do not call the authorities, and don't you dare tell a soul that you saw us here. Do you understand?
The wail of distant sirens was growing louder, cutting through the smoky dawn. Time had run out.
Remember the warning. This isn't some idle request.
Without another word, Lin Yi spun around and sprinted back toward the others.
Everyone, we have to get out of here right now.
He reached Chu Kai and the rest of the group, his breath coming in ragged hitches as he spoke with desperate speed.
Those sirens are closing in, and that fire on the mountain is going to attract every hunter for miles. Our faces have been broadcast to the whole city. If we stay together, we're as good as caught. We'll never make it out if we wait.
Lin Yi.
Chu Kai tilted his head slightly, his gaze fixed on something behind them. Lin Yi spun around. To his astonishment, Dean Meng hadn't fled. Instead, the boy had turned back and was approaching them once more.
Why did you come back? I told you, Dean Meng, I'm fine. You should get as far away from here as possible.
Well, it's just...
Dean Meng raised a hand and nervously rubbed his nose. His eyes continued their restless dance, avoiding any direct contact with Lin Yi as he struggled to speak. Lin Yi watched him, his surprise morphing into a cold, sharpened suspicion. He narrowed his eyes, waiting for the trap to spring.
What I was thinking was, do you and your friends need a place to lie low for a while? If you need it, I could take you all to my family's warehouse. It's secluded correctly.
His parents were in the garment trade and maintained a dedicated storage facility for their inventory, a perfect hiding spot if one knew how to find it.
Dean Meng, we've been friends for a long time. You know me, and more importantly, you know that I know you.
Lin Yi said, refusing to acknowledge the boy's offer directly.
Exactly. That's exactly why I'm doing this. Because of all those years, I trust you completely. If you say those people in the woods aren't dangerous, then they aren't. Your word is good enough for me. Whatever the TV broadcasts or the radio says, it has to be some kind of massive misunderstanding. It has to be. I bet that uncle has been framed by someone. And you discovered the truth, right? You're helping him prove his innocence. Don't worry, Lin Yi. I'll help you out. That's what friends are for, after all. My father is away on business for the next few days, and my mother never bothers with the shop or the warehouse. You'll be perfectly safe there.
Fine. We'll take you up on that offer.
Lin Yi gave a slow nod, but as soon as the words left his lips, his expression darkened even further into a grim, calculating mask.
Great. Follow me. I'll lead the way.
The transition from the mountain slopes to the urban sprawl was a blur of smoke and shadows. Dean Mong's family shop stood like a lonely sentinel at the city's edge, its warehouse looming dark and silent as they quickly arrived.
You all look like you're starving. Just stay put while I go scavenge some food for everyone.
Dean Mong pushed open the heavy metal door, waving them into the cavernous, garment-filled interior.
Wait for me here. I'll be right back, I promise.
The metal door groaned shut and clicked into place. The sound of Dean Mong's footsteps gradually faded, swallowed by the cold concrete and the deep fabric-muffled silence. The second the boy was out of earshot, Lin Yi's demeanor shifted. He spun around to face the others, his eyes wild and focused.
Everyone, find some fresh clothes on those racks and get changed immediately. We aren't staying here, we're leaving now.
Leaving? But? I thought this was our safe house. Why can't we just hide?
Lin Yi gave a slow, deliberate shake of his head. He stared at the locked metal door, his expression reflecting the absolute crushing weight of his suspicion.
Nowhere is safe anymore. This place, it's a trap.
Creak, the rusted hinges of the warehouse entrance groaned as the heavy door yielded to the outside world. Dean Mong stood at the threshold, peering into the stifling darkness, his brow furrowed, a flicker of doubt crossing his features.
Lin Yi, why is it so dark in here? Why haven't you turned on the lights?
His voice echoed hollowly into the lightless cavern of the storeroom.
Don't sweat it. The walls are thick. Even if the lights are blazing in here, not a single beam is getting out.
Dean Mong hesitated, his feet anchored to the concrete outside. He didn't step in right away. Instead, he reached blindly around the inner edge of the frame, his fingers fumbling for the plastic toggle of the switch. He clicked it. Artificial light flooded the space, revealing rows of plastic-wrapped garments that stood like silent sentinels. But otherwise, the warehouse was deathly quiet.
Lin Yi?
He called out again, his heart beginning to thud against his ribs. The stillness was absolute. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. A bead of sweat trickled down Dean Mong's temple as his eyes darted between the shadows.
Lin Yi, it's me. I'm back. I brought some food for everyone. Where are you guys?
He stepped over the threshold, his boots clicking sharply on the floor. His hands were empty. The promise of food was nothing but a hollow lie.
Come on! Where are you hiding? Stop messing around! This isn't funny! Lin Yi, answer me!
Desperation clawed at his throat. He began a frantic trek through the aisles, yanking back plastic covers and peering behind stacks of crates. He circled the entire room, his breathing coming in ragged bursts, but there was no one. The hideout was deserted. Footsteps marched through the alleyway, growing louder until a man in a crisp police uniform appeared in the doorway.
All right, student, I'm here. Where are these fugitives you were talking about?
The officer's gaze swept across the warehouse, clinical and cold, aside from a frantic Dean Mong. The space was hollow, devoid of life.
They were just here! I swear it!
Dean Mong's voice was thin and high-pitched, his panic threatening to boil over.
Wait, I know what happened. They realized I called you. They must have bolted while I was out. Yeah, that has to be it. They realized I betrayed them and they ran for it.
The officer didn't answer. He knelt down, his eyes focusing on the heavy latch of the warehouse door.
There aren't any windows in this place. The only way in or out is through this specific door.
He stood up, his eyes boring into Dean Mong's with a level of scrutiny that made the boy shrink.
But you told me you locked this door when you left to find us. The lock is intact. No signs of tampering, no damage to the frame. If that's the case, how exactly did they get out?
Dean Mong's mouth hung open, but no words came. A cold silence settled between them. He had locked that door. He was certain of it. But if he had the only key, and the lock wasn't broken, how could they just vanish? Dean Mong's mind raced, his eyes darting toward the far corner where several massive shipping crates sat in the shadows.
If they aren't out there, then they have to be in here.
Dean Mong lunged toward the corner, his desperation fueling a sudden burst of energy. He began yanking open the massive crates. The containers were stuffed with plastic-wrapped garments. He thrust his hands deep into the fabric, metal racks rattling under his frantic search. Nothing but cold, lifeless clothes.
This is impossible. It doesn't make any sense.
He couldn't accept it. He had locked them inside himself. They couldn't have just vanished into thin air. One by one, he tore the garments out, throwing them across the floor in a heap of synthetic fabric. He finished one crate and immediately tore into the next, his breathing becoming a series of ragged wheezes.
Student, take a breath. Are you absolutely certain you saw these fugitives? You're acting like a man chasing ghosts?
The officer's voice was heavy with skepticism. He watched Dean Mong's unraveling with a mixture of pity and annoyance.
I saw them, I swear on my life. I know what they looked like. I'm the one who led them here and locked the door. You have to believe me, officer, please.
The officer stared at him for a long, silent moment, his eyes cold and unyielding. Finally, he turned and walked toward the exit. He pulled his radio from his belt and spoke a few sharp commands.
Search the perimeter. Leave no alley unturned.
A static-filled reply crackled back. Within moments, a dozen uniformed officers emerged from the surrounding alleys, their flashlights cutting through the night like strobe lights. Dean Mong hadn't just brought one man. He had summoned an entire squad, waiting in the shadows for his signal. A signal for a catch that wasn't there. They swept the entire block, searching every dumpster and crawl space. There was no sign of the people Dean Mong had described.
Listen close, kid. Filing a false police report is a serious offense. I'll let it slide this once because of your age, but don't pull this stunt again. We have real criminals to catch.
With a final dismissive look, the officer and his squad marched away into the darkness.
Officer, please, I'm telling the truth. They were right here.
He watched their retreating backs, a wave of bitter frustration washing over him. Kicking a nearby crate in a fit of impotent rage, he cursed under his breath. The humiliation was stinging, but the confusion was worse. They were locked in. How? How could they just disappear? He couldn't wrap his head around it. He reached out to lock the warehouse door once more. His shift was over. But just as he turned to leave, a steady set of footsteps echoed from the alley. Dean Mong whirled around, his heart leaping into his throat. A figure was emerging from the shadows of the alley, walking steadily toward him.
Lin Yi.
Dean Mong's voice was a mere whisper. He stood frozen, his eyes wide as he watched his friend approach.
What's the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost. Are you really that shocked to see me?
Lin Yi's expression was a mask of cold stone. He didn't blink, his gaze boring into Dean Mong with an intensity that felt like a physical weight. Dean Mong's eyes darted past Lin Yi, searching the darkness of the alley. He saw no one else, no one Chengdao, no other survivors. A wave of relief washed over him. The police searched everywhere and found nothing. That must mean they were never here to begin with. Lin Yi doesn't know. He has no idea I brought the law to his door. The thought acted like a soothing balm on his frayed nerves. He quickly rearranged his face, pulling on a mask of concern.
Lin Yi, where the hell have you been? I was worried sick when I came back and found the place empty. I was terrified that murderer had finally caught up with you. My heart nearly stopped.
Where were you, Dean Mong?
Lin Yi's question was flat, devoid of any warmth. He stopped just a few feet away.
I went to get food for everyone, like I said I would.
Oh, and where is this food?
Lin Yi looked at Dean Mong's empty hands. The boy stammered, his mind scrambling to fill the void.
I realized I didn't know what everyone wanted. I came back to check the list before I bought everything.
It was a clumsy, pathetic excuse, and even as the words left his mouth, Dean Mong knew it sounded like a lie. Lin Yi let out a long, slow sigh. He looked at Dean Mong with a strange, tired expression.
Dean Mong, how long have we known each other? Since we were what, 5 years old?
Yeah, since we were kids, why bring that up now?
DM Mong tried to sound casual, but his pulse was hammering. He was already thinking about his next move. He had to keep Lin Yi here. If he could just find the others, he could make one more call. If I'm the one who serves up a fugitive like in Chengdao, I'll be the city's hero. My name will be in every headline.
I thought I knew you, Dean Mong. I really did.
Lin Yi took another step closer, his eyes never leaving Dean Mong's.
But I know your tells. I know that whenever you lie, you can't help but rub your nose. And your eyes. They start darting around like you're looking for an exit.
From the very second Dean Mong had offered them sanctuary, Lin Yi had seen the rot beneath the surface. He'd known it was a fabrication. He hadn't exposed the lie immediately. A small part of him had clung to the hope that he was wrong, that his oldest friend wasn't capable of such a cold-blooded betrayal. He had waited, wanting to understand, wanting to see just how far Dean Mong would go.
But now I realize I never knew you at all.
Lin Yi came to a stop directly in front of him. The yellow street lamp light cast long, skeletal shadows behind them.
Dean Mong looked me in the eye. Why? Why would you do this?
What are you talking about? I haven't done anything.
Dean Mong's heart was a drum in his chest, hammering against his ribs. Still, he clung to the wreckage of his deceit like a drowning man. He wouldn't confess. Not yet.
Look, I apologized for the food, okay? Just stay right here. I'm going to run to the shop and get what you need right now. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Dean Mong pivoted on his heel, desperate to put distance between them, but Lin Yi's voice cut through the night like a blade.
I told you not to involve the police. I trusted you with our lives. So why did you bring them here?
Dean Mong's blood turned to ice. The world seemed to tilt. The charade was over. The fake smile he'd been wearing for years slid from his face, replaced by a dark, calculating scowl. His brow furrowed, and in that moment, the boy Lin Yi grew up with was gone.
Yeah, it was me. I'm the one who called the cops.
Dean Mong's eyes darted around nervously. He stood his ground, trying to mask his guilt with a mask of righteousness.
But you have to understand, I'm doing this for your sake, Lin Yi. What is wrong with you? Why the hell are you hanging around a cold-blooded killer? I couldn't just sit back and watch you ruin your entire future.
Uncle An isn't who you think he is.
Lin Yi's brow furrowed, a mix of disappointment and resolve hardening his gaze.
He's not a bad man. I've told you that a dozen times already.
If he's so innocent, then what the hell is he supposed to be?
Dean Mong let out a sharp, mocking snort. When he turned back to face Lin Yi, the look in his eyes had shifted into something far uglier.
If he isn't some monster, why is every cop in the city hunting him like an animal? Don't give me that misunderstanding bullshit. It's not your call to make. Just walk away, Lin Yi. Help me turn him in. Let the authorities handle him before you get dragged down any further.
His words sounded like concern, but his true intentions were far more sinister. As he spoke, Dean Mong's hand began to slide toward his pocket with practiced caution. Lin Yi caught the subtle shift instantly. Before Dean Mong could even react, Lin Yi lunged forward, his hand snapping onto his friend's wrist like a steel trap. Caught in the light was a smartphone. The screen was already glowing, the emergency number 3 digits long and ready to be sent.
Dian Mong.
Lin Yi's voice cracked with a sudden flare of fury. He stared at the person he'd known since childhood, unable to fathom how their years of brotherhood had come to this. Dian Mong fumbled, trying to slam his thumb against the call button, but Lin Yi was faster. With a sharp twist, he tore the device from his grasp.
Give that back! Give it to me!
Dian Mong threw himself forward in a desperate lunge, but the 2 weeks of brutal training under Chen Chengdao had changed Lin Yi. His reflexes were now those of a survivor, not a student. Lin Yi sidestepped, catching Dian Mong's arm and sweeping his leg in one fluid motion. His friend hit the hard-packed dirt with a heavy, unceremonious thud.
How long have we been friends, Dian Mong? Do you really have so little faith in me?
Lin Yi stood over him, his chest heaving as he demanded an answer.
If Uncle An was actually the monster you think he is, do you really think I'd be standing here by his side? After everything we've been through, why won't you just trust me?
Friends, you've got to be kidding me!
Dian Mong spat out the word like it was venom. He scrambled back to his feet, his teeth bared in a snarl of pure resentment. He glared at Lin Yi, the thin veil of their friendship finally tearing away. The jealousy he'd hidden for years was now burning clear as day in his eyes.
Think I know you? Oh, I know exactly who you are, Lin Yi.
His face twisted into a dark, ugly mask of bitterness.
You're the golden boy, the star pupil the teachers drone on about, the perfect kid the neighbors use to shame everyone else. I know you're good. I know you wouldn't normally break the rules, but what the hell does that have to do with me? All I have to do is turn you in, then everyone will finally see the perfect student for what he really is, an accomplice to a murderer. I'll finally be the one they talk about. I'll finally step out of your shadow and prove that you're not better than me. Friends, don't make me vomit. I never wanted to be your friend, Lin Yi. Never!
The words hit Lin Yi with the force of a physical blow. He stood frozen, unable to process the sheer vitriol coming from someone he'd shared his life with.
If I'm being honest, I've hated everything about you for a long, long time. My parents, the school, the neighbors, they never stopped comparing us. Every single mistake I made was a failure because you existed to be perfect. It made me sick to my stomach.
Dian Mong, look at yourself. You're talking complete nonsense.
Lin Yi's voice wavered, his heart hammering against his ribs as the reality of the betrayal set in. Dian Mong didn't even seem to hear him. He continued his monologue, his voice distant as if he were finally purging a poison from his system.
Do you even know why I bothered? Why I stayed in your shadow all these years? Did you actually think it was out of some pathetic loyalty or friendship? I only stayed close so I could witness the moment you finally tripped. I wanted to see you fall into the mud alongside me. But it never happened. Even when you screwed up, they found a way to blame me. I was always the bad influence that led the golden boy astray. Why? Why did it always have to be about you? I was so done with you. I intentionally chose a different high school just to get some air without being choked by your shadow. Seeing your face on the news with that fugitive, that was the happiest day of my life. I hoped he'd kill you. I never dreamed you'd be stupid enough to actually join him.
A cruel, jagged smile spread across Dian Mong's face, twisting his features into something unrecognizable.
But this is perfect. When the law catches up to you, you won't just be a runaway. You'll be the accomplice to a killer. I'll finally be able to tell everyone who looked up to you that you were a fraud all along, a fake, a dirty hypocrite.
Before he could even finish the insult, Dian Mong lunged. He threw his entire weight toward Lin Yi, driven by a desperate need to reclaim the phone. He wanted the cops. He wanted to see Lin Yi in chains. He wanted to win, just once. But to Lin Yi, who had survived encounters with literal monsters, Dian Mong's movements were telegraphic and slow. Before a punch could even be thrown, Lin Yi's arm hooked around his neck. With a surge of controlled strength, He slammed Dean Mong back into the dirt for the second time.
I really cared about you, Dean Mong. I never suspected any of this.
Lin Yi looked down at the boy struggling beneath him, the anger in his heart replaced by a hollow, aching pity.
I had no idea my life was such a burden to you. But even without me, their comparisons wouldn't have stopped. They would have just found someone else to measure you against. The people who raised you, they're the ones who failed you. But that doesn't give you the right to dump all that poison on me.
Without another word, Lin Yi raised the smartphone and brought it down hard against a protruding rock.
Don't worry. You won't have to look at my face ever again. I'm done being the ghost that haunts you.
A cold, hollow ache settled in Lin Yi's chest. It was the finality of a long-dead bond finally being buried. But he couldn't afford the luxury of grief. Not now. There were far more pressing concerns than a broken childhood friendship. Lin Yi relaxed his hold. Din Mong immediately scrambled back, his hands scraping against the dirt as he put distance between them.
How? How are you even here?
He glared at Lin Yi, his eyes practically dripping with toxic venom.
I locked those doors myself. There was no way out of that room. How did you get loose?
Lin Yi had been watching him from the very second he realized the lie. He hadn't survived this long by being naive. In a world where his parents were monsters and his teachers were killers, caution had become his only constant. Over the last 14 days, he'd learned much from Chu Kai and the others, especially about the skills one needs to survive in a city that's turned into a slaughterhouse. Chu Kai had once confessed to breaking into the school offices to retrieve his sister's medical records, a task that required a master's touch with a lockpick. Compared to the high security locks of a government office, a simple warehouse door was a triviality. Chu Kai had them out before the dust had even settled. They'd found a hiding spot nearby, vanishing into the shadows of the industrial yard. Chu Kai's enhanced senses had even picked up the approach of Din Mong and his pack of skin-wearing friends. To those monsters, the survivors were already invisible. Lin Yi saw no reason to explain any of this. The time for talking had long since passed. Yet despite everything, a final flickering spark of humanity remained. He decided to offer Din Mong one last lifeline. It wasn't about being friends anymore. It was about whether he'd let a human being walk into a death trap without a warning. Lin Yi turned around. Instead of walking away, he began to slowly bridge the gap between them, stepping back toward Din Mong.
What? What are you doing? Stay back.
Din Mong stumbled backward, his breath coming in shallow, jagged gasps. He knew he was outclassed, outmatched, and utterly at Lin Yi's mercy. The image of the murderess and Cheng Dao flashed in his mind. Looking at Lin Yi now, he saw a shadow of that same lethal intent, and a cold tide of terror began to rise in his throat.
I said stay back. Don't you dare lay a hand on me. What? What do you want from me?
Din Mong's voice trembles as he retreats, his eyes darting frantically. He looks at me like I'm a monster ready to pounce, convinced this is the moment I finally snap.
Don't try anything, Lin Yi. The police might have left, but there are people everywhere. Someone will hear.
He throws a desperate look at the dark, silent windows of the surrounding buildings, searching for a witness that isn't there.
I'll scream, I swear it. You won't get away with this even if you kill me.
His words are like jagged glass, cutting deep into my chest with every frantic breath he takes. The suspicion in his eyes is a wall I can't climb. In this moment, the crushing weight of the truth finally hits me. The person I risked everything for never actually trusted me. Not even for a second. A cold wave of bitterness washes over me, leaving nothing but a hollow, crushing sense of defeat.
I thought I made myself clear.
I take a slow step forward, watching him flinch.
Uncle Ann is no killer, and I have no intention of hurting you, Din Mong.
I lean in, my voice dropping to a whisper that barely carries through the stagnant night air.
Listen to me. And listen well, this is your chance. The only one you're gonna get to walk away from this alive. The city, the streets, everything you've ever known, it's all a carefully constructed lie, a facade. The people walking beside us, they aren't human. They're freaks, monstrous things hidden behind stolen faces. And we're just their livestock, cattle being fattened up for the eventual feast.
Dian Mong's face goes slack, his eyes fixed on me in stunned silence. It's clear my words aren't sinking in. Instead, he looks at me with pity, the kind of look you give someone who's completely lost their mind.
You've really lost it, haven't you?
Shut up and let me finish.
His disbelief doesn't sting anymore. It doesn't even matter. I'm just fulfilling the last obligation of a dying friendship. Once I walk away from this, the old Lin Yi, the one who cared about what people thought, will be gone forever.
Dian Mong, remember, do not trust anyone, not a single person. Keep everything I've said to yourself. And don't tell anyone you saw me tonight, not even the people you think you can trust with your life. Go find the truth on your own. Find your own way out of this nightmare before it's too late.
You're delusional.
He shoves me back, his face contorted with a mixture of disgust and mockery.
What kind of insane bullshit are you trying to feed me? Is this what that killer told you? Is this how he scrambled your brain?
I've said my piece, Dian Mong.
I turn away, the weight on my shoulders feeling both heavier and lighter at the same time.
Just remember, every word I said is the goddamn truth. Good luck. You're going to need it.
With that final warning, I step into the shadows and leave him behind. Dian Mong watches Lin Yi disappear into the darkness, the dire warning already fading from his mind like a bad dream. His heart races as a different thought takes hold, a golden opportunity. He starts plotting the perfect way to corner Lin Yi and deliver him straight to the authorities. He can already see the look on his parents' faces. They'd finally see him as someone valuable, a hero in his own right. He wouldn't just be Dian Mong anymore. He'd be that legendary neighbor's kid that every parent compares their own children to. Waiting for the gap to widen, he slips out of the shadows and begins to tail his former friend. He creeps along the pavement on his tiptoes, his breath held tight. Every muscle in his body is focused on one thing, staying hidden. But the chase is cut short. He rounds a corner only to find an empty street staring back at him.
Damn it!
The word is a sharp hiss. In a fit of petty rage, he lashes out at a nearby trash can, his foot connecting with a dull, metallic clang. He saw him go this way. He saw him turn into the alley. How is it possible for anyone to just disappear like that in the blink of an eye? He spends several futile minutes scouring the nearby shadows, but find nothing. Finally, fuming with frustration, he turns and stomps back toward his apartment. Dian Mong pushes open the door, surprised to find the living room bathed in the harsh, white glow of the overhead chandelier. His mother is there, sitting stiffly on the sofa. She turns her head toward him as he enters, her eyes unnervingly steady.
What are you doing out at this hour, Dian Mong? You should be in bed.
He pauses, the frustration of losing Lin Yi still simmering. But a new thought strikes him a way to win. Even if he didn't make the catch, he can still tear down whatever reputation Lin Yi has left. Lin Yi's frantic warning about monsters in skin suits is already buried, replaced by the urge to gossip, to be the messenger of bad news.
Mom, you're not going to believe what just happened. I saw Lin Yi, right here, in the neighborhood.
He practically bounces as he walks into the room, his voice high and excited. At the mention of the name, his mother's gaze sharpens. For a fleeting second, something cold and predatory flickers in her eyes, but it vanishes before Dian Mong can register it.
Lin Yi?
Yeah, that weird kid who used to hang around me all the time, the one you always told me to be nice to. I was heading over towards Xifang Mountain to get some video of the fire. It's all over the news, and that's when I saw him. Mom, you won't guess who he was with. It's insane.
Her voice is flat, devoid of any real surprise. But Dean Meng is too caught up in his own drama to hear the warning signs.
Who was he with, Xiao Meng?
The murderer! The guy the police have been hunting! They were together, Mom! At first, I thought he was in trouble. I was ready to call the cops and play the hero, you know? But then, he begged me not to. I thought he was being threatened, that the killer was holding a knife to his back or something, but I was wrong. They're partners. Lin Yi is part of the whole thing. I always knew he was a snake. He looks so innocent, so pathetic, but inside, he's as rotten as they come. You and Dad used to blame me, saying I was the one leading him astray. Well, now you see the truth. He's the one who was always the real problem.
He waves his arms about, his voice rising as he paints a vivid, twisted picture of Lin Yi as a master manipulator, a monster hiding in plain sight.
If I weren't so sharp, I'd probably be dead by now. You're lucky I'm your son, Mom. Otherwise, I'd just be another body found in an alley.
He stops, finally out of breath, expecting a hug or at least a shocked gasp. But the silence in the room is heavy, suffocating. The overhead light reflects off his mother's eyes, making them look like cold, dark glass. She's smiling, but the corners of her mouth are pulled back too far, fixed in a rigid, unnatural grin. He watches her face, waiting for a reaction. Second after second passes, and she doesn't blink. She doesn't even move.
Mom, are you even listening to me?
Oh, I heard you. Every word. Tell me, did Lin Yi say anything else? Anything interesting?
Anything else? What do you mean?
It's just so disappointing. I really thought he was a better person than that. I suppose I was quite wrong. But you, I'm so proud of you, Xiao Meng. You have such a strong spirit. You never let someone like him pull you down into his filth. You're a good boy, my special boy, my pride and joy.
The rare praise fills him with a sudden giddy heat. He stands a little taller, basking in the approval he's craved for so long.
And Mom, I think he's finally snapped, for real this time. He started rambling about monsters, said the world was full of them, said most of the people we know are just creatures wearing human skin. Can you believe that? Total lunacy. Only a complete psycho would say something that stupid.
The moment the words leave his lips, his mother's smile stretches past the point of human capability. Her teeth glint under the harsh LED light.
Mom, hey, stop it. You're making a weird face. It's not funny anymore.
Her voice has changed. It's no longer his mother's warm tone. It's something wet, guttural, echoing with a hunger that makes his skin crawl.
How perfect. Your father is away on his little trip. Now, I don't have to share this delicious livestock meat with anyone. He might be upset when he finds out, but really, what choice do I have? You were the one who had to go and find out the truth, weren't you, Xiao Meng? Ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Her body begins to swell, its proportions twisting and bulging as if something massive is trying to force its way out of her skin. The wallpaper behind her seems to shrink as she grows. With a sound like wet leather tearing, her face splits open. Deep, rhythmic thumping shakes her abdomen as the creature inside surges toward the surface. Dian Meng's legs give out. He collapses to the floor, his mind finally, agonizingly clearing. Every word Lin Yi said, every single word was the absolute, horrific truth.
Help! Someone help me! Lin Yi, please save me! I'm sorry, please save me!
But his screams don't leave the room. They are swallowed by the harsh white light and the widening mouth of the thing that used to be his mother. Elsewhere, in a different corner of the city, I let out a sharp, sudden sneeze. I take a quick look back over my shoulder, searching the dimly lit street. The coast is clear. I've finally lost Dian Meng. Feeling a slight sense of relief, I quicken my pace, eager to get back and regroup.